Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kyle, this is Kontour by Kyle, and today I'm going to be talking about contouring. My cousin Erica recently got a powder contour kit from e.l.f. and she wanted me to make a video just showing how to do it. There are a lot of different aspects to it, so I'm going to be doing a talk through. The palette my cousin got I do not personally have, but I have some other powder contouring palettes that I use, as well as all of the tools that I use. I'm going to be going through cream contouring, powder contouring, and then bronzing. Just a disclaimer, this is techniques that I have learned through watching YouTube videos and trying it on myself, and this is what works best for me. If you have your own method that you like, stick with it. I just always like browsing through people's contouring videos just to see if I can learn something, and I think it's just really helpful if you want to start contouring or try contouring, or just maybe even pick up a tip or two. So I'm going to start with cream contouring because I feel like anytime you use a cream-based product, you should always set it with a powder. This goes for foundation as well as concealer. You always want to set it because it takes away some of that shine. It also makes it last longer. So let's get started. For cream contour, I have a few different ones. You can contour with a cream contouring palette or just concealers. The most popular is the LA Girl Pro Conceal. I got 3 different shades because I wasn't sure which ones I should get, but I actually like that I got 3 different shades. I always like starting as light as possible and then working my way to achieve the darkness that I want, because I feel like once you go super dark, it's really hard to reverse it and get it a little lighter. So you always want to get a shade that is 1 to 2 shades lighter than your skin, so then you highlight and then doing the darker shade for contouring. Contouring makes your face look slimmer by adding shadows underneath your cheekbones. You can also make your nose look thinner by doing this. I also have the Tarte Shape Tape concealers. Again, you want to get one that is a shade lighter than your skin and then one that's darker for contouring. So that's what I did when I bought these. I bought fair and medium, and I really love this formula, so I think I might use these for my demo, but we'll get back to that. And there's also stick contouring. These are the Colourpop Sculpting Sticks. I got the shade Gummy Bear and Dove. And these aren't my favorite because they're a little harder to blend out, but if you're newer at contouring and you want to get something that's inexpensive to try, these I believe are only like $5 or $6 each. They're really easy to use. You just draw wherever you want to and then take either a damp beauty sponge or a more firm brush to blend it out. The last stick contouring product I have is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Concealer. This one I just got in Deep. These are a little more pricey, so I decided just to get the darker shade and do, one of my lighter shades with one of the other products I have. I also really like this. It's very small, but it's very creamy, it's very easy to blend out, and it's a gorgeous color. So I think I'm going to use the Tape Shape. I think that'll be the best product to use. So I'm going to start with my light shade, and I'm just going to start putting this underneath my eyes. Down the center of my nose, a little bit in between my eyebrows, and on my chin. These are the main places I highlight. If you want to add a little to your Cupid's bow, you can. I think I'm going to do that as well. And then from here you can either blend out using a brush, like I said, or a damp beauty sponge. I really like using a damp beauty sponge for the highlight. It just makes it easier. This is the Real Techniques Complexion sponge, and you just run it under water, squeeze it a few times, and then wring it out so it's damp. Make sure it's not sopping wet. You just want it to be damp because the dampness will help move the product around your face and help it to blend into your skin. Once you have that all blended out, you can see just how bright my under eyes and the rest of the places that I highlighted are. That's the point. And then you can go over it with powder. Moving into contouring, I'm going to be taking the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Medium. And like I said, you just want to carve out your cheeks. I'm taking not a ton of product at first, just so I can start mapping out where that contour line is. A lot of people suck in their cheeks so you can see more directly where that line is. And then I'm going to do a couple marks around the very top of my forehead, my jawline, and then on the sides of my nose. So again, I'm going to start using a damp beauty blender. I'm doing it on its side and squeezing it a little bit so it's a little more narrow. And you really want to make sure that you're blending back into your hairline. Also, sorry that I'm red. I filmed a video previous to this and these lights get very hot. And then for my notes, I'm going to use a different tool. I'm going to use one of these oval brushes that I got from mymakeupbrushset.com. They're about $40 and they aren't exact dupes to the artist oval ones that are like $400, but they do the trick and they're a lot cheaper. They come in a ton of different sizes. These ones are good for nose contour also. And then for this, you just want to keep blending. Next is a step that not everyone does, but I'm not the greatest contourer in the world, but I do like to go back in my light shade and just do a little touch-ups anywhere I feel that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Next, I'm going to get into powder contouring. I have 3 different palettes. One of them is a drugstore brand, the other 2 are higher end. There are so many palettes out there, you can pick whichever one you want, whichever one you can afford. There are some great ones. My favorite one of these 3 is actually from the drugstore. So it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do is your choice. These are just the ones that I happen to like and I have been using. So the first is the Tarteist Contour Palette. It comes with a lot of different options. Number 1, this is the highlight shade. Number 2 is a matte yellow shade and it is for color correcting. 3 and 4 are both contour shades. You can pick which shade depending on just how dark you want to go with your contour. 5 is a blush, which I will do at the end of this video. Right in the middle is the shimmer highlighting shade. So this is a really great palette if you need all of those in one. If you're traveling and you want a blush, contour, highlight, and color correcting all in one palette, this is great. The next palette, this was my very first ever contouring palette when I first started getting to makeup. This is the Lorac Pro Contouring Kit. It also came with this brush, which I'll talk more about later. This one has 2 different highlighting shades. There's one that's beige, there's one yellow, depending on your skin type. There's 3 different contours, again, depending on your skin type and how deep you want to go with your contour, and then a highlighting shade. So again, this is really great for traveling as well, and you get a little mirror, and it's great. And then finally is the Wet n Wild Contouring Palette. I love this. They recently came out with a new formula, which is amazing. I never tried the old one, but I heard not so great things about it. So when this one came out, I heard a ton of great things about it, so I went and got it. Mine is in the shade Dulce de Leche, and I just love the colors. It blends so nicely. I love this palette. So I think I'm going to powder contour using this palette because the colors are just perfect for my skin and I just love using this. Again, if you have deeper skin, you're going to want to get a different color. Now moving on to brushes. This is another total preference, whatever you like. These are just the ones that I have in my collection and I love to use. So again, like I said, the brush that came with the Lorac Pro Contouring palette, which is great if you want to really chisel in those cheeks. Another one is the angled contour brush by Wet n Wild. Again, it really gets in there. It's a more narrow brush than some of the ones I'm going to show you. This one is definitely one of my favorites because it's really chubby, it's really big, but it still has that straight shape so you can really get into your cheeks, but since it's tapered, it blends it out beautifully. This is the Beautifully Bare blending brush by e.l.f. I would definitely recommend this one. It's super inexpensive, and yeah, it blends out so well because of its size. This is the Multitasking Face Brush by Tarte and Nicol Concilio. They collaborated on a brush set, and this is one of them. This can do a lot of different things, and again, I love it for contouring. It is a little flexible for me. Personally, I like a brush that's a little stiffer, but when I have used this, I really did like the results that came out because again, it's tapered, so it makes it look a little more natural. And then finally are the three Morphe brushes that I love to contour with. The first is the E59, again, tapered, so it makes it look a little bit more natural. And I just love this shape for packing some contour shape all the way up by your ear and then bringing it in. I really love it. And then same with these two. They're just smaller so they can get in a more precise line. The R13 and the E59 are both synthetic bristles compared to the R5, which is natural bristles. So again, it's all based on preference. I use a wide variety of them. It just kind of depends on my mood and how much I want to contour. And before I do the demo of the powder contour, there is one other way that you can contour. In my book, there's no rules for makeup. You can do whatever you want, and sometimes I just like to bronze up my skin, which is a lighter form of contouring. It doesn't necessarily mean you do your nose or your forehead. It's more just warming up your skin, but I think it still kind of applies because you're doing a darker color on certain parts of your face to make your face look more narrow. So my two favorite bronzers to use is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and it smells like pina colada. And the second is the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil. Mine's in the shade Light Medium. So now I'm going to start with the demo for the powder contour. I'm going to take my Wet n Wild contouring palette, and I'm going to start with the lighter shade in the palette. I'm going to be using my Morphe R2 brush for this because it just covers a larger surface area of my face. So I'm just going to dip it in, tap off any excess, and really just pop this anywhere that I highlighted. For this part, you can also use just any face powder that you like. Doesn't necessarily have to be a contouring palette. And then I think today I'm going to be using my e.l.f. Beautifully Bare blending brush. So again, you want to just go in the same area where you put your cream contour. I always start by these little hairs. So I start up here and I curve downwards and follow the contour of my cheek. You definitely want less pigment as you get closer to your mouth. So really concentrate the pigment up by your ear and then just use a lighter hand as you get closer to the mouth. The final segment of this video is going to be about baking. It's something that's fairly new, I would say. Not everyone does it, not everyone likes it, but if you want a really clean, razor sharp contour, then this is definitely a technique for you. So I'm going to be taking my RCMA No Color powder and my M459 brush from Morphe. Any no color translucent powder will work. And I really like this brush because it can really pick up a lot of product and pack on a lot of product. So you're just going to get a generous amount on here, and you're going to start right at the bottom of your contour. And just pack that powder all over. And then if you get creasing in your smile lines, you can use this technique also. So this way, throughout the day, your smile lines don't get creased. So then the technique is you just leave it on for a minute or two, and it just really brightens and sharpens that contour. So while that is baking, I'm going to go ahead and throw on some blush and some highlight just to kind of show you the layers. So the bottommost layer of your cheek should be contour, and then right above that you're gonna throw on some blush. And I just do this on the apples of my cheek and blend backwards towards my hairline. And then highlight is going to go right on top of that, on the very high points of your cheek. So once you're ready, you can go ahead and wipe away that baking using a big fluffy powder brush, whatever brush you want to use. The only tip with this is to make sure you don't brush upwards. You only want to brush downwards or sideways along that line. You don't want to get any of this translucent powder above where you want to contour. And there you have it. I hope you liked my Contouring 101 video. So I hope you guys liked this video. Please be sure to subscribe before you leave. Give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video.